To meet our quorum requirement, can we have a motion to meet our alternate, Anne Marie Marolda, as a regular member for tonight's meeting? Sue?
Yes,
I'm sorry. Nina cannot make it tonight, so I was just asking for a motion to alternate Anne Marie Maroldo as a regular member for tonight's.
okay. I'll make a motion for Anne Marie to be a regular member this evening.
Okay, second the motion. Motion passes. Anne Marie, you're now sitting as a full regular member for this meeting, okay?
Okay.
And our first agenda item is approval of the September 15th, 2021 meeting minutes as amended by the town clerk. Can I have a motion to approve it?
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion passes. Third agenda item, numbered 3 on the agenda for tonight, is discussion and possible action concerning an outstanding acknowledgement form from a commission member. And Mr. Nelson Grock is here with us tonight to address that. The background for that is this comes out of section 1-10 of the ethics policy that's distributed to commission members. And it was brought to the board's attention that all 3 notification methods were attempted to be made to get an acknowledgement form returned to the town clerk. There has not been a returned acknowledgement yet, so the town clerk asked for a meeting to address this for this particular issue, which was held on September 8th. And pursuant to the ethics policy, the Board of Ethics is required to allow the person who has not submitted their form back to the town clerk to come to a meeting to discuss that. It's not discretionary. It's a process that is mandated for this board to do that. So that was why this particular agenda item was set up. Mr. Nelson Grock is here with us tonight. Welcome to our meeting, Mr. Gracka.
Thank you. I'd like to thank, go ahead, sorry.
Before you start, I just want to thank you for your years of service on the Zoning Board of Appeals and your service to the town of Berlin. So thank you for that.
Thank you for acknowledging that. It's appreciated. And I want to thank the members of the council that were able to make it tonight last minute and all because of this. So if it's okay, pretty much what I'm looking for is a waiver and exemption of the signing of the ethics policy. I've read it and I believe that this is something that just can open me, myself up to scrutiny and my family possibly, from what I understand, and a possible litigation because of the type of business that I run in town. I deal with a large majority of people in town, anywhere between literally a 1/6 to a 1/7 of the town population comes through the store at any one point. And there's a lot of business practices that are used that could possibly not jive, for lack of a better word, with the ethics policy, and I'm just not ready to open myself up to that or my business. And that's pretty much what I'm looking for. And now I'll leave it in your hands, obviously. And thank you for hearing me out.
Okay, so it sounds like because of the nature of your business and the volume of people you deal with in Berlin, you have a concern that the information that's requested or required to be submitted in the financial statement form could expose you, your family, and your business to negative activity.
Not just, I'm sorry to, not just the financial form, but the policy in general. There's just many sections there that are troublesome to me. Just the way I do business, I'm very hands-on, one-on-one, as some of you might know. And I don't want anything being construed as me voting or not voting in a certain direction based on the amount of business a person would do with me in town. That's one of my main concerns, to be quite honest with you.
If I may, Chairman, he's on an appointed board, so the appointed board only has to do the acknowledgement.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, Madam Clerk. Okay, I mean, you don't deny that you received the policy, you just are hesitant to sign off on that. Is that accurate?
Correct. That
Okay.
is accurate, correct.
Okay. Anne Marie or Sue, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. He would still be obligated, though, to follow the ethics policy. Is that correct? Even though he's not signing off that he acknowledges it?
So, Mr. Grock, I think you concede that even if you don't sign off on the ethics policy, that you're subject to those rules and, have to adhere to the ethics policy in town.
Oh, yeah, I would totally concede that. I mean, that's kind of how I've been running, the way I've been running from day one, regardless. I mean, this came into effect obviously years afterwards already. I was already a commissioner. So yeah, I haven't had a complaint, nor do I plan on having one. I just can't open myself up to one.
Is that helpful, Sue, or do you have any follow-up?
No, that's okay.
Okay, Anne Marie? I'm sorry, you're muted, Anne Marie.
I'm just not understanding, I guess, if the policy is out there, if people can pick and choose whether or not they can not open themselves up to that. I guess the whole point of the policy, isn't it, to be able to be forthcoming? And if you're not doing anything that would cause you to have a complaint, I'm just unsure about that.
And good question, and I believe that the town clerk clarified, at least for my understanding, that a member of the zoning board of appeals does not have to prepare and fill out the financial statement pursuant to the ethics policy. Is that accurate, town clerk?
Yes, but he's supposed to acknowledge, sign that he received the ethics policy, but he does not have to do the financial statements. He's on an appointed board.
Okay,
So it's only the elected officials that have to do the financial statements, and Board of Ethics and a few other commissions.
so I'm not sure if that addresses your question, Anne Marie.
I guess, but does that mean that Nelson, are you not willing to acknowledge that you've received it? And
No,
I guess if you don't have to do
I'm sorry, go ahead. I apologize.
no, I was just going to say, because doesn't that require his signature saying that he acknowledges that he received it and it gets sent back to Kate in the mail? Is that right? That's how it works? That's how we all did it? The acknowledgement and the...
Correct.
Okay.
If I could summarize, my understanding is
So the policy is in effect regardless of whether I just have to acknowledge that I received it. Am I correct in that assumption?
yes.
Okay,
So the purpose of this meeting and this agenda item is you did not acknowledge that in writing. You're requesting a waiver based on the nature of your business and concerns that you relate to us. You've acknowledged tonight that you have received the policy and that you know that you have to adhere to the policy. You're just asking for a waiver to sign and return on that. Is that summarized?
correct,
Okay.
correct.
Any other questions, members?
Well, the only comment I would make is, what's the difference of what's the point of not wanting to sign acknowledging it? Because that has no impact on the fact that you're still obligated to follow the policy. I mean, signing it, acknowledging you received it, has nothing to do with waiving your obligation under the policy. So what is the purpose of not signing just to say, yes, I received it? Because by not signing is not saying that you're not obligated under the policy. Do you understand the point I'm trying to make?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to respond to that, Mr. Graca? I guess.
Yeah, I honestly, till this point at the meeting today, did not know. The only signed paper that I had, the only paper that was here to sign was that, not just an acknowledgement, it was that I was conforming to the policy. That's the way I understood the signature page as. not just acknowledging that I have received it. You know, you could have mailed it and had it at return receipt and it would have acknowledged that I had received it. But I'm not signing this. And if it means that, if it's the same to you guys, that whether I acknowledge it or sign it is the same thing, then I take back what I said earlier and I'll just resign my post. I'm not signing this because I'm not putting myself out to litigation for anything that might happen in the future.
Okay,
This is how I earn my living. It's not going to affect this. This is a voluntary position for me. I'm not getting paid. I'm trying to do what I can to help the town. But if this is going to somehow affect me or might affect me or my business in the future, then that's something I'm not interested in doing. So now I leave it in your hands. So if I can't get a waiver, then so be it.
yeah, and just to be clear, the request for waiver and what we're talking about is a waiver to return the acknowledgement letter.
Correct. I did not know that whether I acknowledged it now or signed. The paper that I had that I read, from what I understood it to be, was that if I signed it, it's what would come into play. But now if you're telling me that the fact that I just acknowledge it on video right now is the same thing as signing it, then yes, I agree with the, I forgot your name. I apologize. The previous person who made that point.
So,
Yeah.
And she's correct. I understand what she was getting at. But that's not what I understood this to be. I understood that I needed to sign it and then mail it back. That would acknowledge it and put me into the policy.
well, it's an acknowledgement that you received the policy, which I don't.
Well, I
think
did receive it. It's right in front of me. I have no questions about that.
There's no dispute of that, correct?
No, I've received it. There's not a problem with that.
Okay.
But I can't abide by some of the things that are in there because it just doesn't conform to how I do business or might do business in the future. I'm not opening myself up to that litigation.
Okay, any questions on that, members?
No, my question is, do we discuss it in executive session before taking a vote, or what's the procedure?
We can, I think we can, if you want to go into executive session.
And I'm sorry, just to point out, I'm fine with that. Whatever you guys, if you guys need time to speak about that and talk, I'm good with that too. Believe you me, I have no problem with that. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I'm just, like I said, I'd like to stay on the commission that I'm on because I want to help the town. But I'm not doing something that I'm not getting paid for, or, you know, to put my business in jeopardy, or myself or my family members. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and I think we understand that and appreciate your candor and your demeanor here tonight. And just so I'm clear, are you making the statement that you cannot abide by the ethics policy?
No, that's very generalizing it, because I can abide by many parts of it. I can't abide by other parts. There's reasons for me saying that, and
downstairs.
You know, I just can't do as a whole. No, I cannot abide by this as a whole. No.
Okay, so there are parts of the ethics policy that you are telling us you cannot and won't abide by.
No, don't, please don't get me wrong. You're saying that I cannot abide by them. I said I can, but there might be something that pops up in the future that contradicts what I would be agreeing to right now, and I can't do that. I don't want to do that to you guys or to myself. That's just not doable.
Okay.
I've read into this, and there's certain things that are here. I totally get why this was written. I'm not against it by any stretch. I just can't abide by some of the way that this is written.
Is there anything in particular that you can tell us is problematic?
Well, you know, I'm looking at future things. How do I know that if somebody comes into my store, for example, and purchases a large amount of something, that they come up in front of me in council, in front of our committee one day, and I vote against whatever they want, for example, and they say, well, oh, we spent X amount of dollars at your store every day. I thought you would help me out. I can't have that come out in public. That's going to hurt my business. Nor do I want to put myself out to that. That's just not going to happen.
Okay, yeah, and I guess that is a personal decision that you are considering and have to make. And from our perspective, you know, the position that you're on comes with certain, you know, obligations as far as the ethics policy.
Right, but what I just explained to you, for example, is something that can happen with no knowledge of my own, and then I'm open to a lawsuit, or I'm open to something that happens. Again, that's the reason why. It hasn't happened yet, but it could, and I don't want to be, brought or dragged through the mud with that. It's just,
Yeah, no, I understand. I think that's again, a personal decision.
mhm.
And I think anybody who does any of this stuff takes a risk as far as litigation. And it's just a matter of a personal decision or not.
Of course.
So, I think at least speaking for myself, I would be comfortable with a waiver with an acknowledgement that you understand, and as someone who's on the ZBA, you're subject to the ethics policy in Berlin. And that's just speaking for myself. I'm only one vote on this committee, but it sounds like you're not even willing to do that.
I don't think I can.
Okay. Any questions, Anne Marie or Sue, or comments?
No.
No,
Okay, would you like to speak in executive session?
yes,
Sure.
Okay.
I'm
you're
sorry,
good.
but you cannot go into executive session. This is not on the agenda.
Okay, so
Okay.
as much as we
This
like,
is-
as much as we like, we cannot.
And the other thing is that I don't know if this adheres to an executive session, for this discussion. This is a public meeting at this point.
Okay. So you could tell we don't do this much, Nelson. So
That's
we're
understandable.
doing,
Listen, I go through that in our committee too. Sometimes things pop up even after 10 or 12 years that just kind of, you gotta go with what it is. I understand. I'm good with it.
So from my perspective, there's no remedy that we can give you that doesn't allow for an acknowledgement that you received the ethics policy. The code of ethics just does not allow for that. There has to be at least an acknowledgement. And as I said, I would be willing to vote for a waiver if there's an acknowledgement that you received the ethics policy, but you're telling us you will not do that. I just want to be clear.
I understand by what you mean now, as far as acknowledge that I received it. Yes. No, I'm not willing to do that. No.
Okay.
'Cause
Okay,
that
so
would be the same, I'm sorry, that to me, and I want to make sure I'm correct in this, constitutes the same as me signing it or not, correct?
well, I'm not sure if it does or doesn't. It's just an acknowledgement that you received the policy.
Well, if you're telling me that, if it's just an acknowledgement that I received the policy and this is what's in play and this is what the town requires for me to be on the board is to follow these exact policies, then I cannot accept that. No, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And I'll tender my resignation and everybody's good. And I say hi to everybody when I see you in the street.
Understand, and obviously we don't want that unless you're comfortable with that. But there is no sort of avenue for someone to waive, the requirements of the ethics policy. That's just not even something that's even anticipated or contemplated in the rules. What you can ask for is a waiver to sign the written acknowledgement, but not to say I'm exempt from the rules. That's
Okay, yeah, and I don't want to be, and I don't want that either. I don't want to be, even if that was a way around it, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be comfortable in asking you for an exemption of the whole policy. But I in my mind, me signing something like this physically just it puts me there. I'm there. I don't have a word to explain it, and I apologize for that.
No,
that means
that's
I'm
okay.
That means I'm fully vested and committed in this, all pages, everything that's here. But there are
Correct.
some parts of this that I cannot abide by, that I don't want to, because I don't want to, I honestly, personally, don't even want to put the town in the situation that if something comes up, I don't even want the town to get hurt with this, with having to litigate for me in the future if God forbid something happened. I'd feel horrible if that was the case.
Understood. And the last thing we want to do is pressure a resignation or,
Well, you're not pressuring resignation. I don't want anybody to feel that they're pressuring me to resign. If I can't, if this is something that has to be covered, I spoke to various people about this. Some people in what they do for a living have to sign these things at their jobs. I get that, but me helping the town isn't my job. And I don't want this to fall back on me or my business. I just
Yeah,
can't.
understood. And that's, again, a personal choice. And we respect the fact that you've been a volunteer for the town for many years. A solid member of the community. We get all that. Unfortunately, there's no avenue under the rules that we're, under that allows a waiver from the from the ethics policy.
Okay, well, I'm good with that. And that's why we're sitting here talking.
Yeah,
And that's
and by the way, you know, I'd be happy to make a motion to table this issue if it's something you want to think about, you know, and consider before, you know, taking any other drastic action.
Well, what would, honestly, the tabling this would only help because I would help with the meeting tonight, because I don't think there's a quorum without me tonight at the appeals board meeting, and only if you guys are okay with that. It would be more to help out the crew that I've been working with for the last 10 years.
So in other words, this is not something that you think you'd change your mind on?
I don't think I'm changing my mind on this.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, from my perspective, that's not a reason for the table this issue then.
Understood.
Okay. So our next step would be a vote on whether, you know, what's going to happen next. In other words,
Well, listen, I'll save you the vote. I'll tender my resignation now on screen to the town, and I'll be happy to send a written resignation letter dated with today's date. You know, make it easy on everybody. I have no problem with that whatsoever. So I'll tender my resignation now as of today at whatever time it is, 6:32 p.m. on, you know, Tuesday, September 28th. And I'll write a resignation letter dated with today, return receipt so I can get an acknowledgement of it, and bid you guys a great, you know, rest of the week and weekend.
okay. And I just want to reiterate, we really appreciate what you've done for the town for many years, and you know, the fact that you've done a good business in town, and that you know, you seem at peace with this decision, and
Not a problem.
yeah.
And
So-
I hold no grudges, and don't begrudge anybody, you guys, and I'm glad you guys stay doing what you're doing. It's good for the town. The town needs it.
Likewise.
I'm not against any of this.
Likewise. So thank you for your appearance here today, and we will see you around town.
Yes, sir.
And, so based on Mr. Graca's resignation from the ZBA, I would make a motion that I would ask for a motion that this agenda item go off.
I motion.
A second.
Okay, motion carries. Again,
I'm
thank
sorry, what was the motion?
that the agenda item go off, or a vote on the agenda item go off.
You don't, the agenda item is discussion and possible action, so there's no vote needed.
Okay.
You're not going to give them the waiver,
Okay. So
okay? Yeah.
so
All right.
thanks for your time, Nelson, and we'll see you around.
Thank you, guys. God
Okay.
bless, and hope everybody stays healthy,
You
please.
too.
Thank
Yeah.
you. You too.
Have a
Thank
great
you
evening,
for your
everybody.
service.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was the last agenda item. If there's nothing else, I would ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, motion carries and meeting adjourned.
Okay, see you all tomorrow.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Good night,
Thanks.
everyone. Bye.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
I look for shoes.